Hi everybody, Roy here, All Things Yoga with Roy. So beginners alignment course 606 today. Okay, so technical issues. So we're going to look at holding the body open, and we're going to do it by looking at Cobra and Camel, and teasing out how to basically look at the three basic elements of alignment, which means stability, mobility, and then flexibility. Is how to keep the body grounded and stable, and that when we resist into the floor or the body, is that gives us a grounding and a stability in the floor, but then that rebound gives us a tone coming up through our muscles. And that, remember last week we were looking at rotations. It's how we rotate the joints is activates our lines of force. And as we activate our lines of force, is that gives us, so the joints begin to open, the muscles begin to tone, and it's creating space for mobility. So we've got stability, we've got mobility, and then we need to go over and go as deep into the posture as we can, go into the posture, whatever way it is. Today is back bends. And as we do, we have to maintain our stability. We've got to maintain that resistance. We've got to get the root and rise, the lift up through. And as we do, it's keeping the body open in its flexibility. And that we're reaching the edge of that. And it's the edge of keeping all three open together. So it's about keeping the body open and building real stability and strength, real mobility and openness. And as we move into our flexibility, is we're testing the edge of our power, is we're activating our power. So we move from strength into power. What do I mean by that? Because there is a difference. Is a simple way to describe it is that I have different muscle groups. When I isolate those different muscle groups, I'm building the strength in the different muscle groups. But if I only work some and not work others, is I'm only using a certain amount of my strength, only using a certain amount of my power. Where when I use all the muscle groups together, is then I begin to activate the full power of my body. So as we resist into the floor, we get stability. As we feel the lift come up, it opens us up, it gives us our strength and our mobility. And as we test the edge, is we're testing the edge of our flexibility. And what we're looking to do is find our lines of force. And that as we activate all the lines of force, so there's one in each arm, there's one in each leg, and then the spine itself is the fifth line of force. Is when we get all those lines of force working together, is the body comes into its natural integrity, and it really comes into a powerful place where we begin to breathe. And as we hold the posture, is as we breathe into that space, is we end up transitioning from physical effort to energetic effort. And as we transition from physical effort to energetic effort, we're transitioning from strength to power. Okay, so I'll tease it out with you today. And in many ways, as we shift from the physical into the energetic, is that's where we'll pick this course up when we move into the intermediate. So that when we layer in the intermediate practice, we're moving more into the subtle aspect of the practice, and we get into the energetics of it. Okay, but that'll be another 6-week course somewhere down the road. Okay, so let's get going. We're going to be in the back bends for at least an hour, and you know the story as you go along. It's your first time here is, again, gently. You'll find that we'll do micro movements. If it is your first time here, is go back and do week 1, week 2, week 3, and you'll see how it gets structured and it gets teased out as we go along. And our main focus is body awareness itself. We're not getting so caught up in the posture, we're engaging with body awareness itself. And we're looking to find the different aspects of alignment within our own body and to have the experience of them. Okay, what do I mean? Let me show you. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to lie on our bellies. And if we put our Hands down by the side of the body, hands down. Okay, feet a couple of inches apart, point the toes away. And we start with the chin or the forehead on the floor. Now, the reason why we would do this is that when we move into Cobra, a very natural way to do it would be to roll the shoulders away from the floor, and it just connects the shoulder blades to the rib cage. Now, when you bend the elbows and you bring your fingers pointing forward, I'm showing you the natural way the body would move into it. So you can see the hands are pointing forward, they're ahead of the shoulders, and also the thumb is to the outside of the shoulder. So when you naturally bend the hinge joint of the elbow, it brings you to here. Now, everybody has different shaped bodies, different lengths. Like you'll see later on when I do Cobra, I have a really long spine. When I do Camel, you'll really see my long spine. So different shape bodies is for everybody. You get to here, you slide your hands back until your forearm is not like a straight down pillar, but where your hands can press in and you're able to take the weight, stabilizing the hand and the wrist. You're able to stabilize your forearm and use the power of your hinge joint in your elbow. And as you roll the shoulders back, when you press your hands in, is that your shoulder blades automatically, actively press to the back of the rib cage. Okay, so your thumbs are out to the outside of the shoulder. And let's say you start here, you slide the hands back until you test. You press your hands in, you've got the strength of your forearm, the elbows will naturally draw in. Okay, and just roll the shoulder blades back so you can feel your upper back tone. And you're going to lead the upper body effort, you're going to lead that upper body by activating your upper back. Okay, because sometimes you'll hear teachers talking about keeping the fingers, tips of the fingers level with the shoulders and pull the elbows in. And that's not going to work for a lot of body types. Some people are going to have really long arms, and it's just bunching them all up. It just isn't going to work. It can be very disempowering. So you get people coming up like this because they're all bunched in. So you got to think that where's the base that allows you to really connect into your upper back. Your line of force needs to come through your hand, all the way through your arm into your shoulder, your collarbone, your shoulder blade, to your rib cage, and that you feel that connection and strength of your upper back. Okay, so we're going to explore that today. So let's say you're about here. Now just leave your hands there, but what I want you to do is press them in and just feel them engaged. Now look at your feet. I want you to point your toes away from your body. I want you to press the front of your feet just slightly into the floor. It's going to tone your thighs. So feel your thighs tone. Some people's knees may come off the floor a little bit, but careful not to tone too much. It's not just that you feel the leg lengthening. And as the leg lengthens, drawing the ball out of the socket, press your groin a little bit to the floor. Press your pubic bone a little bit to the floor until you feel your pelvic floor tone a little bit. You might even feel the core of your body, the trunk of your body tone a little bit. And just hold that tone. Now what I want you to do is press your hands into the floor. Now the full length of the finger, the knuckle, the palms, press them all in. Now from there is press your forehead to the floor, or even rest your forehead on the floor. And as you press your hands in, is draw the elbows in slightly, roll the shoulders back, and I want you to feel your upper back tone. And I want you to just press your hands in enough to feel your upper back tone, and press your feet to the floor a little bit, press your groin to the floor a little bit until you feel your pelvic floor, your core, and your upper back. Your pelvic floor, your core, and your upper back. And basically the trunk of your body, once you feel the tone. I want you to feel those three areas. Now as the forehead is on the floor, notice you get a lovely openness across your shoulders. So they're not bunched up. There's a lovely openness across your shoulders, and there's a tone in your upper back. And then just hold that. and keep resisting. Just enough to feel the tone in your pelvic floor. So you're activating both legs, you're activating both arms, but you're bringing it into your pelvic floor, the trunk of your body, and your upper back. And you're just holding those three areas. And we're getting into the resistance. We're pressing down and we're kneading the ground, and then you're beginning to draw your lines of force into your body and just activate pelvic floor, the core, and the upper back. So the rotations, the basic one is the rotation of the ball and socket joint in the shoulder. That's the simple one. When you draw the elbows in, careful not to pull them in. In fact, when you press your hands into the floor, when I press my hands into the floor, you notice that my elbows naturally draw in themselves. If my shoulders are open and my shoulder blades are connected, if my upper back is engaged, when I press them in, my elbows naturally draw in. Okay? And you're just holding that tone, and now while you're keeping the shoulders open, your forehead is on the floor. I want you to just let your neck lengthen. So think about it, from the base of the neck to the base of the skull, just let it lengthen. Let it lengthen. Now breathe a little into your navel. Breathe a little into the sides of your rib cage, and breathe a little bit into your upper chest. Feel a little bit of movement in your navel, a little bit of movement in your rib cage, and a little bit of movement in your upper chest. And feel all three areas expand a little and contract a little bit. It's very hot here today. We've had a very long winter this winter. Today is like a summer's day. So constantly pressing the feet, pressing the groin, and pressing the hands. Now, just enough that you can meet the stability of the ground. It tones the arms and legs to the pelvic floor, to the core, the trunk of the body, and the upper back. And then breathe. Then take a little longer when you breathe into the sides of your rib cage. I want you to feel your intercostal muscles expand. I want you to breathe into your upper chest. And as your rib cage expands, I want you to feel it meet the tone in your upper back. So as you take a little longer into the rib cage and upper chest, is just allow your breath, the lungs to expand your rib cage, and to meet the tone in your upper back. Breathe into the tone in your upper back. Now, while you're doing this, notice the tone in your hands, the tone in your forearms getting nice and engaged, and feel the bicep and tricep work, and the upper arm, and across the shoulders, across the top of the shoulders. Now, as you're lengthening the back of the neck, feel the space between the shoulders open up. Feel the space between the shoulders open up. As you open up the space between the shoulders, the shoulder blades, as you're sitting back and engaging the upper back muscles. Notice your thighs. Notice the tone in your thighs. And remember, the intensity is what's the level of tone in your thigh that activates the whole leg and just extends it. Now from there, what I'm going to get you to do is press your hands in a little firmer and lift the chest off the floor an inch or two. And allow the head to still rest forward. Allow the chin to rest towards the chest. So you're lengthening the space between the base of the neck and the base of the skull. You're opening the space across the top of the shoulders more, and you're toning your upper back more. You're going to feel a little bit more in the arms and make adjustments. Now think about it. Look at your range here. See the hand? Look at your range of motion. And if you're ever unsure, see if I bring my hands a little forward and I push. Now you can see my upper arm starting to shake a little bit, is because the hinge joint of my elbow is taking way too much weight. So the hinge joint of my elbow is taking too much weight. If I slide my hands back, now the weight's coming down through the forearm, and that allows me to be stronger in taking the weight. So you see that motion there. So as I'm coming up, my neck is getting longer, my shoulders are opening, and I'm toning my upper back. And see that breath? Breathe deep into the rib cage and upper chest. Keep doing what you're doing. And again, you notice I gave myself a little rest there. I eased off slightly, and then I'm back in. And the next thing I'm going to get you to do is, with your hands, I want you to push. I want you to push backwards. So your hands are pushing into the floor, and I want you to press your hands into the floor like you're trying to push yourself backwards. Like you're trying to push back like this. So rather than trying to push down to go up, I want you to push down to go back. So we're here like this, where we were. So I'm pressing down to activate my upper back. Now I'm going to push my hands into the floor to push my body back a little bit. And I'm going to, as I do, I'm going to have my groin resist. So as I push my body back, my groin is resisting. So I press my groin a little firmer into the floor. And in that is you're finding that grounding, a stronger resistance into the floor with your groin, is you're really stabilizing your pelvis. And just feel that resistance. And breathe. We're getting stability. We're feeling our strength. We're breathing. And we're opening for mobility. We got to stabilize the pelvis. And again, you can let yourself gently float up and down in the motion. You can be adjusting your hands as you need to. Now the next part is I want you to come a little higher. I'm going to bring the breastbone forward and up, but as you're pressing the groin in, bring the breastbone forward and up, and then bring your chin, forward and up. And as you bring the chin forward and up, lengthen the back of the neck. As you bring the chin forward and up, lengthen the back of the neck, and you can see I'm lengthening out my spine. I'm lengthening out my spine. I'll come up a little higher. Now when I'm about here, I want you to gently draw your breastbone slightly down. So as I flex like this, there's a tendency to prop the chest a little bit. So when I draw the breastbone down, it brings my groin and my core a little stronger together. So I'm pressing my groin to the floor. I'm drawing my breastbone down so the trunk of my body tones. And I'm sweating away here. The trunk of my body tones. And I'm going to move in that tower now. Okay? So we're like this. And up we come. Bring the chin forward and up, but lengthen the back of the neck while you do it. And as the breastbone comes forward and up, I draw the breastbone slightly down. I'm bringing my groin and my breastbone slightly together. And I'm just working the trunk of my body. I'm working the core of my body. And then let's just move in and out of it. And then down we come. Okay, so from there is turn your head to one side. Turn your head to one side. Hands down by the side of the body. Palms turned upwards. Put your big toes together and let your heels rest out. So essentially like this. Now while you're there, what I want you to do is breathe nice and deep into your navel. And then breathe your abdominal wall into the floor. And as you breathe your abdominal wall into the floor, again, in your own time, as you feel your abdominal wall spread out into the floor, it's like a massage. You're going to feel your oblique muscles at the side open. You're going to feel all the muscles in your lower back expand from the inside out. So breathe and just massage the trunk of your body. Just breathe. Now the exhale, again, your own time, feel that lovely release. So get that lovely expansion in the muscles and then the contraction in the muscles. When you go a little deeper, is you're going to start to feel the release and lengthening of your lower spine. Breathe and feel the release and lengthening of your lower spine. Get the space between your vertebrae. And again, it's that rooting down, resisting down. And then as you go a little deeper, you get the lift up and then it opens you out. So you get this openness in your muscles and you get this elongation of your spine. Your joints are opening. And just breathe into the release in your lower spine. It's gorgeous. Now notice as you're coming close to the expanding fully into your navel, is your pelvis starts to move slightly. The back of the pelvis moves slightly towards the heels. Your tailbone moves ever so slightly towards your heels. Because as the spine floats up, it elongates. So it's lengthening down towards the heel a little bit. It's a very subtle movement. As you breathe into your rib cage expands. Breathing into your back, breathing into your spine. Your upper spine begins to lift and float and elongate. Breathe between your shoulder blades. Breathe between your shoulders. And again, taking the time to feel all that space open. So that you end up breathing to the base of your neck. Breathe to the base of your skull and breathe to the top of your skull. So you get this lovely resistance into the floor on your inhale. It gives you a lovely rebound effect that expands and lifts the body and elongates the spine. And you get this beautiful openness and then just bring the peak. And as you exhale, slowly exhaling. And again, feeling the release in the navel. Feeling the release in the rib cage, feeling the release in the upper chest. And you get this lovely sensation of your spine floating down. But it continues to elongate because of the contraction on the exhale. So the expansion and the tone on the inhale lifts and lengthens the spine. The contraction and the floating down of the spine on the exhale keeps the spine elongated. Then notice that you're breathing directly into the floor. And you can really feel that. And now think about, no matter what part of your body is touching the floor, it's always breathing into the floor. Always. And we're going to go and do Cobra in a couple of moments. We're going to explore that experience of the body breathing into the floor through Cobra. You're always breathing into your spine. Always. Every breath directly affects the spine. And you can feel that in that position, that the spine is elongating and it's floating up and down on the breath. It's beautiful. And that you're always breathing to your inner body and always breathing to your core. And as you breathe your navel into the floor, you can feel that core. And again, we're going to explore that in Cobra and Camel. And we'll see how to layer in the breath into it. And we'll come into the energetics of the root and the rise. And we'll explore how the root and the rise gives us that lovely stability, mobility, and then we move into the flexibility, and we'll see how far we can move into Cobra. But this time we'll keep it a little bit more fluid and engaged in the energetics of the two. Yeah. Okay, so We're back with the forehead or chin on the floor. We're going to point the toes. Your hands are palms up, so turn them down. And bend at the elbow, just at the elbow. So the elbow stays where it is. You don't take the elbows out, maybe you'll be like this. So you bend at the elbow. So your thumb is at the outside of your shoulder. Now, again, everybody's body's a little different. So once your thumb's to the outside of your shoulder, that's the width of your shoulders. You're going to slide your hands back until your forearm is close to being like a pillar. You don't want it straight, but a little bit of an angle, okay? As opposed to being like a ramp and a lot of pressure on the hinge joint. Now you've got the weight coming through the forearm. And again, if it feels a little tight, take your hands out slightly wider. You want to create a broad enough base. Now test, when you press your hands into the floor, can you feel that the elbows naturally draw in and you can easily roll the shoulder blades back onto the rib cage. So that, think about your shoulder blade. When you press your hand into the floor, it presses your shoulder blade into the back of your rib cage and you're connecting that line of force. And just press it in to feel the upper back tone. Leave your forehead on the floor. Okay, there's the upper body, and at this time, the lower body, point the toes. Now press the front of your feet a little into the mat, not much, just enough that you feel your thighs engage. Now press your groin into the floor. Okay, and as you press your groin into the floor, again, feel the pelvic floor engage, feel the trunk of your body engage. Now from there, let's just do this. When you press your hands in, push to activate your upper back and then push to your groin. Push to activate your upper back and push to your groin. Okay, so it's an inhale and you exhale, you lower down a little bit. So constantly resisting and resisting on the way up and resisting on the way down. So you feel your shoulders open, your neck long, your upper back engage, and then it comes down. As you come up a little bit, press the groin in, now feel your pelvic floor and your upper back engage. Again, work the upper back, press to the groin, resist, upper back and pelvic floor. Now, as you feel the upper back and the pelvic floor, now as you go slightly higher, draw your breastbone slightly to the navel. Now feel the trunk, feel the core of your body work. So here, upper back, pelvic floor and core, and then exhale. And next time, as you come up, lengthen the back of the neck, and bring the chin forward and up. And you get that lovely rooting down, and then get the elongation coming up, and then the flexibility is you're working your upper back, and while you're flexing your lower back, you're not compressing it. You're grounding yourself very much in the hips. You're grounding the hips and elongating the spine. It's super strong. And then down we come. Again, turn your head to one side, the other side again. Palms up. Elbows out. Let your big toes touch. Let your heels rest out. And again, I want you to belly breathe. Breathe deep into your abdominal wall. Breathe your abdominal wall into the floor. Breathe into your rib cage. Open up your back, between your shoulder blades and your shoulders. Breathe your upper chest, open up across the shoulders, to the base of the neck, to the base of the skull, to the top of the skull, all the way down to the tailbone. So you get that lovely expansion, elongation. And as you reach the peak, allow yourself to exhale. Feel the body lowering down, feel the spine lowering down, but the contraction is encouraging the spine to stay long. You're just meeting the the tone of your breath, the tone of your lungs, is meeting the tone of the body, is breathing and meeting the resistance into the floor. It's just a beautiful way to release your lower back from the inside out. All the back muscles, you feel them expanding from the inside out. It's a lovely release. It's probably the most effective release I've ever found for the lower back muscles. Because all you got to do is lie in your belly and breathe into it, and the breath will do the work, the body will release. There's no pushing or pulling in the lower back. It's just simple breathing and releasing. And simply by the position you're in, you get that beautiful release. It's really nice. We're working the upper back a lot. So feel in the upper back. Take the time to breathe into your rib cage, your upper chest. Allow the weight of the arm just to rest into the floor. Allow the shoulders to relax a little bit. And just breathe and release. Okay. And up we come again. So this time we're going to come into Thunderbolt. So come on up and sit on the back of the heels. Okay, so now we're going to tease out Camel. We're going to tease this out in stages. Okay, so I'll show you from the side and I'll show you from the back. So yeah, put your hands on your hips, come up onto your knees, put your hands on your hips, elbows back, shoulders open. Now, what I want you to do is separate your knees shoulder width apart. Okay, not hip width apart. Okay, and the reason being is because look at the width of your shoulders. And a nice way to do it, or easy way to do it, if you put your thumb in your armpit, okay, and then you bring your hands down, put your knees that wide, nice and wide. Okay. Okay, now this is our starting point, and then you're going to curl your toes, and you're up on the ball of the toe. Okay. Now the reason why we're this wide is look at the width of the shoulders, and I'm pretty wide shoulders. So if I kick my knees in the width of my hips, when I look to bring my hands back, is that the width of my shoulders they're so broad that it's going to make me compromise my neck and shoulders. It's going to make me compromise my lower back just to get my hand on my heels. But when I open my knees the width of my shoulders, now I've got that alignment. I've got the lines of force of my arms that I can activate my upper back, and I've got the neck and shoulders open, and I'm in my power, and I'm truly following the alignment in my body, as opposed to the general classical description of the posture. Yeah. So it's a really good place for everybody to start. Knees the width of the shoulders rather than the hips, and toes curled up. Now I keep my toes curled up because I really do have a long spine. So different shaped bodies is my long spine is that if I go flat on my feet, is sometimes or most times is I really get a sense of compression in my lower spine. Yeah. Now different people is another person could have really long legs and a short spine. Some people are like that, and for them again, toes curled is allowing their body to move in the root and rise in the true mobility of their body, where they can go into their flexibility and they're truly strong in it. Okay, so different shaped bodies for different people. So you got to test the space, and you're better off giving yourself a broader base at the start, because you can always bring it in if you need to. Okay, is as you get the lift up through, is where's the base that gives you the best lift, and then you want to stabilize the lift before you test the flexibility too much. Where you saw in the Cobra there was a lot of time spent in the resistance, and again, I bet your arms felt really tired. I bet your arms for a while there were more tired than your upper back. And again, if you were spending less time in it, your arms wouldn't get so tired. But what you're doing is you're beginning to feel the effort it takes, the strength it takes to build that resistance so that the line of force from your hand to your arm can really support the tone in your back. So really, as you go into Cobra, you really want to feel the upper back work, but your arms have to be part of the stabilizing. So that's why we stayed in that for a while and just resisted in a very simple position, but held the tones. And then as we went further in, is checking. We're checking the groin, making sure that we're still rooted, so that when we brought the spine up, is that we were bringing the integral tone. So that as we flexed further in, the back got stronger, the pelvic floor got stronger, the legs and arms supported, and just bringing the breastbone and the groin slightly towards each other is kept the trunk of the body engaged, kept the core engaged, and it stops compression in the lower back. It stops you just leaning into the very flexible lower spine, which normally is very flexible. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to do the same thing in camel. So your knees are the width of your shoulders. Your toes are curled. Again, if you know you're going to have a bit of pressure on the knees, it's not going to be comfortable. Is get a cushion, get an extra yoga mat, or double up or triple up your yoga mat and do the same thing. Okay. So hands on the hips, elbows back, shoulders open. So we're like this, and what I want you to do is think about micro movements. Is ever so slightly put your weight slightly back. Now people have a tendency to go too far, so what you're looking for is the weight goes slightly back, that you feel it pushes your toes into the mat. Now what's the smallest amount that you can feel the toes pushing into the mat? Okay, and that's all I need you to feel. So you don't need to do this because there's a sequence of movements we're doing here. So just put your weight back a little bit, that you feel that it pushes your toes into the mat. And what I want you to do is sway from the weight down through your knees to the resistance into the toes. And I want you to feel both. Now that's you rooting down. Feel yourself resist. Feel the body resist into that. The knees resist, the toes resist, that you're rooting down. And look, you're just in this motion here. So maybe I think I'm leaning back more because I'm talking to the camera. Normally I wouldn't lean back as much because I don't need to. I'd be like this. It's just a small amount. I'm just coming into that general movement. Now look, you see with my hips here? You see I'm very simply doing it by adjusting my hips. But now what I want you to do is, there's the weight in the knees, there's the resistance in the toes. Now I want you to push forward with the thighs. I want you to push forward with the thighs. Okay, pushing forward with the thighs. And now keep the weight predominantly on the knees, not on the toes, predominantly on the knees. And as you push with the toes, push the thighs forward. You're just pushing the thighs forward. So you're rooting down, and now you're starting to tone the thigh. Now, as you do that, I want you to slightly tuck your pelvis, send the tailbone down slightly. So as you push the thighs forward, I want you to feel your pelvic floor tone. So now here's the rise. You're rooting down, and now you're rising up. You're rooting down, and you're rising up. You're rooting down, and you're rising up at the same time. So I want you to feel the knees to the toes, to the thighs, to the pelvic floor. Knees to the toes, to the thighs, to the pelvic floor. Now you're feeling all at the same time. You're rooting down and you're rising up. So it's only a very small movement, but you're feeling that tone in the pelvic floor. And notice how it begins to tone your core. You start to feel the core of your body working. And again, hands on the hips, elbows back, shoulders open. And just feel the core work. So now knees and toes, the thighs, the pelvic floor, and the core. So you're rooting and you're rising, and you can feel that energy, feel that tone coming up through your body. Okay, now the next thing you're going to do is you leave the chin down. Please don't lift the chin up. What I want you to do is draw the breastbone up towards the ceiling. Draw your breastbone up towards the ceiling. And really what I'm asking you to do is flex your upper back. That's really what I'm asking you to do, is flex your upper back. Okay, so not lean back, it's just flex your upper back. So draw the breastbone up towards the ceiling. You're flexing your upper back. So there's your upper back. So now watch this. The knees, the toes, the thighs. Knees, the toes, the thighs, the pelvic floor, the core, and the upper back. The knees, the toes, the thighs, the pelvic floor, the core, and the upper back. Now, check with your core that when you bring the breastbone up, you're activating your upper back. Draw your breastbone and your groin slightly towards each other, that you feel the core. Because you don't want to be like this. You don't want to be all lost with control. You need to keep the groin and the breastbone a little bit together. Like we were doing in Cobra. Look, you activate the upper back. There's working. We're already activating the groin, like in Cobra. Imagine I'm lying in Cobra, my legs are straight. And as you go so far, breastbone and groin for the trunk, that you don't lose control of the trunk of your body, so that you're encouraging the root and rise in your spine. The tailbone goes down, but the skull is going up, and you're opening up that space. So, okay. So we're just listening. Chin stays down. So constantly in the ground, constantly in the tone, pelvic floor, the core, the upper back. Now you'll notice that the thing that might be getting tired here is your thighs. And better your thighs, because again, your thighs are part of your stabilizer here, is you're stabilizing the root and the rise through the thighs. So you're building the strength of it in this position. So pelvic floor, core, and the upper back. And because we're on our knees, your thighs do become far more important for this position. Okay. Now from here, if you take your hands away and you rotate, remember we were doing it last week, you rotate the hand and wrist, the elbow and the ball and socket joint. Hand, wrist, elbow, ball and socket joint. Okay. So when you rotate them out, so look, they're ready, the upper back's working, is now keeping the weight predominantly on your knees. Your toes are there for resistance. There's your thighs, here's your pelvic floor, here's your core, here's your upper back. So now all you got to do is when you rotate, is now you go, look how close the hand is. You take a hand and put it on the heel, take a hand and put it on the heel, and you have both hands on the heels trying to talk you through this. Now there's a tendency to lean back. When you do, is come forward again. Keep the weight predominantly on your knees. And breastbone's going up. Now again, see this here? Sway on the knees. Just a little sway. Check your thighs, check your pelvic floor, check your core, check your upper back. Now the chin's going to come up first. Chin comes up, and get a tone in your throat. There's a tautness in the skin. Don't lose the tautness in the skin. Okay? So when the chin comes up, the chin comes back, but only as long as you control the front of the throat. Do not throw the head back. Do not throw the head back. Just keep controlling the throat. There you go. And a little sway. A little sway. And you're breathing your navel, you're breathing your rib cage, and you're breathing your upper chest. Your navel, your rib cage, and your upper chest. I'm trying to talk in this at the same time. So now when you're coming out, it's the reverse. The chin comes to the chest. You put your weight on your knees. So when your weight comes on, when your hands come off your heels, the weight is already on your knees. So out you come. And the thing that you've protected all along is your lower back. Okay? And again, is talking through all that. It gets a bit hot. So again, let's lie flat on our backs again. So let the feet rest out. Let the hands rest out. Turn your head to one side. Hands down by the side of the body, palms turned upwards. Again, elbows out. Big toes touch and let your heels rest out. And again, let yourself breathe. I want you to breathe into your navel. I want you to breathe into your rib cage. I want you to breathe into your upper chest. Now notice what feels different this time. Notice what feels different this time. There's a greater sense of ease in the breath. There's a greater sense of ease in the spine. But notice the tone in your legs. Notice the weight of the leg. Now let the weight of the leg rest into the floor and let the thighs release out. Let your pelvic floor release out. Let your abdominal wall release out. Your lower back release out. Let your rib cage and upper back release out. Between your shoulder blades and your shoulders, release out. Across the top of your shoulders and down your arms, release out. Down your legs, release out. Release the neck, release the head. Then breathe. And breathe in nice and slow and deep. And as you breathe nice and slow and deep, it's just feel as the body expands. The spine floats up, you get this beautiful elongation. You reach a peak. And gently exhaling. And your spine floats down. But yet the contraction continues the elongation of your spine. So that whether you're inhaling or exhaling, you've got that beautiful resistance into the floor. You have that beautiful lift that naturally comes up through the body that keeps the spine open, and that you begin to breathe the tone of the root and rise. Think about the effort you put into your body to elongate and open, the root and rise, the physical effort of it. Now think about your lungs like a pair of muscles, and have the tone of your breath, the tone of your lungs meet the tone of your body. And that when the tone of your lungs meets the tone of your body, you get this beautiful transition from physical effort to energetic effort. And you'll notice when you're lying on your belly there, is that there is that resistance of breathing into the floor. You will feel that resistance. There's the effort of breathing into that more, meeting that tone, and meeting it with the tone of your breath, the tone of your lungs, into the tone of your body. Breathe it into the floor and just begin to breathe that beautiful groundedness. Feel the expansion and the lift and the beautiful tone in that. Your vertebrae open, your central nervous system just releases energy into the body. You get these beautiful waves of energy, waves of sensation. And as we develop, we'll develop the breath into the postures, and we'll start tapping into those energetic waves and how to engage in those energetic waves while we're in the postures. It's just subtle engagement of our center of gravity and coming into our central nervous system and breathing the energy. So with a minimum of disturbance, what I want you to do is come back up again. Okay, come back up again. And again, notice you're nice and relaxed. Your spine is nice and open. And notice how your lower back feels. For all the back bends that we're doing, is that we're not straining the lower back at all. If anything, in Cobra, it's the arms, it's the upper back, but it's not the lower back. Okay, in Camel, it's the thighs, it's the pelvic floor, it's the upper back, but it's not the lower back. It might be a little bit of your core. But the one place where we're protecting, well, two places we're really protecting is the lower back and the neck. Is they're very malleable, very flexible. We want them to be strong, so as we lengthen them, it creates tone, and then we explore the mobility of the joint with flexibility and power, so that the more we avoid putting the pressure on the lower back, the more the rest of the body is supporting. So it's a very good sign when you can, the rest of your body is feeling it, but the lower back isn't feeling it so much. It tells you that you're integrating the effort, you're working through your alignment. Okay, if it is in your lower back, is follow the steps, and then notice at some point the difference between, like I'm just on my knees now, yeah, and now I can lean into my lower back. Now there I am, just leaning into my lower back. I'm not putting any effort into anything else. I'm just compressing into my lower back. I'm putting my weight into my lower back. There's a moment when you do that. There's a moment when you're not, and then there's a moment when you do it. Is you need to notice that moment, and then you need to ease back from what you're doing, and then Ease back your weight out of your lower back, off the pressure of your spine. Bring it back onto the knees, put it back on the toes, get it on the thighs, find your pelvic floor, find your core, so that when the breastbone comes up, the weight isn't being loaded onto your lower back. And it's the subtle engagement of that, is you've got to go through the steps. So we're going to go through the steps one more time. Okay, so knees the width of your shoulders at least. Okay, now if you can follow everything I'm doing, and you can bring the knees in closer, but that's great. You explore that yourself. Think with the range of motion. It's either going to be within this range. It's not going to be outside of that. So it's feel free to explore that range that facilitates your body. You got to think about this. The guidelines are the guidelines, but your body is your body. So I have a long spine. I'm broad and I have a long spine. You know, it's sometimes you have somebody in the class and they've got long legs and a short spine. Some people have got bigger hips and other people have got smaller hips. Other people have really thin shoulders, other people really broad. Some people's arms are super long, other people's arms are just whatever normal is. And some people, their arms are really long. So that's all going to affect the position of your body and your alignment. So wherever your stability is you have to follow your body, not what the guideline of the posture is. Because all it is a guideline. What's more important is your body. Your body always comes before the posture. Always comes before the posture. That's far more important. So the knees are the width of the hips. Curl your toes. Now again, if you're more familiar with this and you go, no, I think I don't need to curl my toes, don't curl your toes. You can put the feet straight and press through the front of the feet. Either one. But you still have to be able to stack. Like even if I uncurl my toes, and my weight's on my knees, hands on the elbows, or hands on the hips, elbows back, shoulders open, and I'm gently swaying, doing the same thing. I'm swaying a little bit back. Now I'm pushing the front of my feet to my knees, the front of my feet to my knees. I'm still doing the same thing, where I'm just getting used to feeling that resistance into the floor. Is you're really going to get intimate and familiar with that in your body in the different positions. Is that resistance into the floor. I'm curling my toes again. Okay, and I'm just getting that resistance. And again, think about the energetics of it. It's very much like we're swaying in our center of gravity. You're rooting down and you get that lovely support, and it just lets you look how fluid it lets you be in it. So you want to feel that fluidity in it. Now, when you push the thighs a little forward, it naturally helps you tuck the pelvis. So as you push the thighs forward, check that your tailbone is going slightly down, that you feel the pelvic floor draw up. So as you push down, you get that lift. Push down, get that lift. Bring it into your core. You should always already feel the trunk of the body working. The lower abdominals, upper abdominals, obliques, lower back. Deep in, you get the psoas working. It all kicks in. So it's all working. Now from here, again, hands on the hips, elbows back, shoulders open, is you're drawing the breastbone up towards the ceiling because it's making you flex your upper back. So you're not leaning back, you're flexing your upper back, you're activating your upper back. And once you activate your upper back, ease off and sway for a sec, put your weight in your knees. Once you've activated your upper back, check your breastbone and your groin are enough together that you've got the trunk of your body working, your pelvic floor is engaged, and you're stable to the knee. Because this is the time when you flex your upper back, this is the time when you go that little bit too far, and now you're just in your upper back. Get off the upper back. Activate the lower back. Get off the lower back, is activate your upper back. Check you've got your core. Just check you've got your core. You've got your pelvic floor, thighs to the knees to the feet. So you're just checking it out. You should be able to feel that engaged tone. I'm exaggerating it here just for a bit of fun. It actually feels nice because the root and the rise is quite energizing. It's really nice. Okay. So we're like this, elbows back, shoulders open. So look, when you take the hands away, you rotate hands, wrist, elbow, and shoulder in the ball and socket joint. So the ball and socket joint is rotating. And as you rotate them, you got that lovely openness in the shoulders. The chest is open, the upper back is engaged. Leave the chin to the chest. So now you're actually leaning back. This is the only time now I've actually asked you to properly lean back. But as you lean back, keep the weight on the knees as much as possible. Okay? And when you find your hands on your heels, there's a tendency to put weight a bit more back and come forward on the knees. Keep the weight on the knees. Look, a little sway. Breastbone and groin together. Work the thighs, breastbone and groin. Upper back, chin to chest. Keep breathing. Chin comes up, lengthen the front of the throat. Only bring the chin up and back as long as the front of the throat is controlled. And breathe. And breathe. And a little sway like this, it just keeps you in the energetics. It just keeps you in the energetics. And breathe. And breathe. And when you're coming out, is weight definitely on the knees, so that when you come out, your weight is already on your knees, so you've got your body stable. And then, sitting back down, and we're going to lie down again on our bellies. One final time. Now after this one, we'll roll over and we'll go into the lightness. But you're on your belly. Turn your head to whatever side you want. Hands down by the side of your body. Elbows out, palms upwards. It disengages your shoulders. It lets the shoulders relax. Put your big toes touching. Let your heels rest out. It disengages your pelvic floor in your core. So it just allows you to relax. Okay, now from there, begin to belly breathe. Begin to belly breathe. And again, breathe into your abdominal wall. Breathe your abdominal wall into the floor. Feel the pressure. At this time, take your time. Breathe a little slower. Breathe a little deeper. Again, everybody in their own time. And I want you to use the pressure that you're feeling. I want you to use it like a massage. I want you to use it like a massage. As you breathe, feel the pressure of your body into the floor. Have your lungs meet that pressure. And then just let yourself breathe that a little bit slower and a little bit deeper. I want you to feel like you're really breathing deep into your inner space. And that you're getting that lovely sense of energetic release. Your spine will, again, it'll float up. It'll elongate. That'll open up the space. Think about compression in the joints. It's all the nerve endings, all the nerve threads, nerve endings coming out through your vertebrae. Think about the pressure on your vertebrae. They put pressure on the nerve ending and less energy flows through. But when you take the pressure off, is lots more energy flows through from your central nervous system. That's why it feels so nice. You got a beautiful energetic release. And the energy channels can move more freely through the body. That's why the root and the rise, your yield, is so important. It keeps the body open, but it keeps you vital. It's the energy flow more freely. So all that beautiful release you're feeling in your spine, that's you releasing energy. You feel energy flowing through the channels, and then it begins to permeate into the body, and then you get these beautiful waves of sensation. I want you to breathe deep into those beautiful waves of sensation, and I want you to surf them. I want you to surf your breath, surf your body as it engages in the floor, surf your breath as it engages with your muscles, surf your breath as it engages with your spine, surf your breath as it engages with your central nervous system. You feel that beautiful release of energy. Now you're already doing it. As you breathe a little slower, you're grounding yourself into your energetic body. You're grounding yourself into that energy. Feel in your breath, as you breathe slow and deep, you feel the same sense of stability that you felt between your physical body on the floor. You're now feeling in that energy, that energetic body. You're grounding yourself into your energetic body. And as you expand and you get that lovely openness and release, is now you're opening yourself into your energetic body. Is you get a greater sense of release, and then just breathe that release. You're breathing the waves of energy. Okay, and as you get that beautiful openness and rising, then surf it. And as you breathe it, notice as you come to the peak of your inhale or your exhale, is that you're coming to the edge of your breath and the edge of that wave. And there's a moment of pause, and then you're going to begin to exhale or inhale, whichever one it is, and now breathe slow and deep and just meet the ground of that energy, meet that beautiful sensation, and breathe slow and deep into it. Meet it, ground yourself in it, and then open yourself into it. And on the exhale, you're still exhaling into your navel, so you're still exhaling into openness. It's like on the inhale, the wave is surfing, you're catching it on the way up. On the exhale, you're catching it on the way down. It's beautiful. So as you're exhaling into your body, you feel that beautiful wave and just surf it through your rib cage, through your middle of your spine, to your upper chest, your upper spine. It's just gorgeous. These beautiful waves of sensation. And you're just opening up your upper back because of the back bends. So now this is the bit I want you to focus on for this final bit on your belly, is as you breathe into your rib cage, slow your breath down. Just a little, not a huge amount. Give yourself that extra time to feel your intercostal muscles expand and open. Feel your rib cage incrementally opening more and more. And that you can feel as the rib cage expands, a little bit of openness at the front, but it really opens to the back. Really feel as the rib cage expands, it draws and opens your upper spine a little bit more. And you really get to feel like you're breathing right between your shoulder blades and right between your shoulders. So that beautiful big knuckle at the base of the neck. And just allow that space just to open. And then breathe from the base of the neck to the base of the skull. And at the peak of your inhale or your exhale, I want you to stay there for a couple of moments longer. And just allow your upper spine to open and release. Open and release. So you're surfing the waves of your spine, but slow it down when it comes to the rib cage, the shoulder blades and the shoulders, and just feel that area just open and release. It's gorgeous. And all the back bends, they all lead with the upper back. Never lead with the lower back. You lead with the upper back. And it's easy to flex the lower spine. The challenge is the upper spine doesn't flex so much. Upper spine rotates left and right. It doesn't flex. It does flex, but not so much. So the back bends, we're looking to really work on flexing the upper spine. So now while you're lying on the floor, breathe into your rib cage and your upper chest and just feel that upper spine open and release. And enjoy it. It's a trip. It's gorgeous. But with the minimum of disturbance, I want you to roll over onto your back. We're going to continue on our back. And all I want you to do is let your feet rest out. Let your hands rest out. Palms up. And do a quick scan. And just make sure you're comfortable. And once you're comfortable, lie still. And I want you to continue to breathe as slow and as deep as you were on your belly. Now you don't have the same pressure, but I want you to breathe into the beautiful sense of lightness, the spaciousness, the freedom of it. But I want you to breathe slow and deep into it. And notice how deeply you can go into that spaciousness. How deeply you can breathe into the lightness and release in your navel. Again, everybody at their own time, that wonderful expansion in your rib cage. And again, take a couple of extra moments really to feel the rib cage and most definitely the upper chest. Just feel the lightness just open up through your upper chest. It's absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous. And it's just a wonderful way to open up your heart center. You work on the upper back to open up the heart center, that beautiful lightness. And when you exhale, again, you're exhaling the navel, do it nice and slow, and go deep into the effortlessness. The release that you feel on the exhale is exquisite, gorgeous. And it's in a beautiful spaciousness. And go deep and slow into it. Meet the ground of that energy. And as you're breathing through your rib cage, letting go in your rib cage, take the time to slow down and really feel the contraction and the release in your rib cage and your upper chest. And that beautiful sense of letting go in your heart center. just letting go into that beautiful energy. So that as you come to the end of your exhale, there's a wonderful stillness. And I want you to come into the stillness of yourself, but then equally the stillness of your heart center. Just come into it. And when you inhale, you're breathing into your navel. Now you're coming into that lovely freedom of spaciousness, and it's opening. Just allow yourself to breathe slow and deep into that opening and really connect into that lovely openness and lightness. As you breathe into your rib cage, it's a flowing lightness. As you breathe to your upper chest, it's a flowing lightness that just opens up and blooms. With beautiful, beautiful energy just releasing in your heart center. And then just at the peak of your inhale, just let it open and be light. Just feel that lovely light open energy in your heart center. And then it's that beautiful bond of yourself. Think about your heart. Heart is all about the bond. And think about kids. Kids just bond to everything. They bond to a rock. They're just so in it. And if you think about it, as we develop and mature in it, is there's two things that the heart wants. The heart wants to be seen, and the heart wants to be felt. So for the rest of this practice, I want you to do that with that beautiful energy in your heart and your energy. I want you to see it clearly, is the lightness in it and the openness of it, the effortlessness in it and the stillness in it. And I want you to feel that. And then I want you to go deep and peacefully into yourself. So that as you exhale, you're letting go into your heart peacefully. You're letting go into your heart effortlessly. And you can feel the beautiful inner bond within yourself. And as you come to that beautiful flowing release, as you come to the end of that effortlessness on the exhale, you come to the pause at the end of the exhale, and there's a beautiful moment of stillness. And I want you to come into the stillness of your own heart, the stillness of your own bond, that place in yourself that just naturally wants to be felt and seen. It wants to bond. That's what the heart wants all the time, to be felt and be seen. So just feel your own heart and see your own heart. And as you inhale, beautiful openness in the navel and how light it is and how free it is. And then allow yourself to breathe into that lovely flow of it. There's a lovely momentum in it. Has its own momentum. And you come to the beautiful lightness in your upper chest. Again, the heart center just opening. And again, you're just seeing the openness of your own heart. You're feeling the lightness of it. And you're just coming into the being in your own heart, the bonding of your own heart. And we all want to be seen. We all want to be felt. That's just it's a natural state in all of us. And just allow yourself to feel that. And then to be just open and honest in ourselves about it. It's not about anybody else. It's not about anything else. It's just about you and your heart and that honesty of the bond. I want to be seen. I want to be felt. I am seen. I am felt. I see and I feel. And just come into that bond. It's beautiful. And for a couple of more moments, is just allow yourself to enjoy the waves of the heart energy. Just the waves within the breath, and those beautiful waves of your heart, just allow them to just permeate and merge with the rest of your body. Let that beautiful connection just move up and down your spine. Breathe it up and down. Surf those beautiful waves of lightness as it just washes through your body. Surf those waves of effortlessness as they move through your body. And between the effortlessness in the exhale, the rooting down, and the wonderful lightness on the inhale, the rising up, the root and rise, the yield. Now we're yielding in the heart. Now in between the effortlessness and the lightness, you have this spaciousness. And you're just holding that space and then allowing it to just move through your body. Beautiful waves. And you're just yielding in your heart center. From yielding in your body, you take the same practice, and you do it in your heart center. And then just breathe slow and deep for the grounding. Breathe slow and light for the lifting, the lightness, the openness. And those beautiful pauses at either end of the breath just keeps the space open. It's beautiful. Same practice, it's just a little more subtle. And you'll see as we go along on the courses, is that you keep layering that same skill, just into different aspects of the same practice. So for a couple of more minutes, just allow yourself to float in that beautiful space of the bond, your own heart. So just continue on in your practice. Enjoy the relaxation. Stay there for as long as you want. Stay there for another minute, stay there for another 30 minutes. And just allow yourself to just enjoy the beautiful space. And that's the end of this 6-week beginner's course in alignment. Nice place to finish in the heart. Is interesting to see where we pick it up, getting more and more into the energetics as we move into the intermediate course. Until then,